We're back again with the next verse of Anand Sahib. And in verse 32, we're going to be asking ourselves, how do we prioritize divinity and our higher selves when there are so many other distractions in the world? In verse 32, the Guru begins by saying, O tongue, you relish all other flavors, but your thirst never ends. Your thirst will not end with anything else until you grab hold of the divine flavor of hari. By finding and drinking this divine juice of hari, desires will not trouble you again. This divine flavor of hari is obtained with grace by those who meet the true Guru. Says Naanak, all other flavors are forgotten when hari embeds in the mind. Those of you who are familiar with Anand Sahib will know that we're starting to come towards the end of these verses. There are about 40 verses, and now the Guru is starting to address real, practical, specific solutions on how do we achieve this bliss, this Anand in our daily life. And the Guru starts by looking at our senses, looking at our behaviors and things that need to be reformed. And in this one, we're looking at our relationship with food, with our tongue, with sensory pleasures. Guru starts by saying, E rasnaa, tu anras raach rahee, tayree pi-aas na jaa-ay. O tongue, you relish and enjoy all other flavors, but your thirst never ends. Now, in the last verse, we briefly touched on spiritual disappointment. And I know in my personal life, one of the things that I've had to deal with in the past is when I've felt disappointed, I've actually in the past had quite a terrible relationship with food and with, in particular, with sugar and sugar addiction. And you'll notice in these various verses of Anand Sahib, I try as much as possible to relate the verses to real life experiences, and I try and share my own things and my own struggles that I've had to deal with. And the reason is that, firstly, I never want anyone watching these videos to feel like I'm somehow better than you, somehow I'm more enlightened, or I've mastered all the things that I talk about. I never want to try and present myself as someone who's spiritually superior in some way, because I think that would be completely dishonest as to who I really am. But the other reason why I do it is I want to show that this wisdom is really applicable in everyday life. It's really applicable to day-to-day problems that all of us are going through. And so we need to understand that if we are to take this wisdom on, it's so that it can help us in our day-to-day lives with everyday challenges. You know, I quite proudly talk of myself sometimes as a food lover, and I really enjoy trying new cuisines and I enjoy cooking. In the past, when I felt low or unmotivated or stressed, I would use food and sugar as a way to give me a quick boost. And I've realized over time that that quick boost is so short-lived that very quickly you go back into that low feeling again, and then you start going back into your cravings again. And that's very quickly how habits turn into addictions. And sometimes when I've felt low and I'm done with food, then I might go onto a screen and I'm just mindlessly scrolling through social media feeds. Even that word feed, is the social media is trying to feed us in some way. Either we're being fed by unhealthy foods, or we're being fed by unhealthy thoughts and being exposed to just seeing the bright lights of the world and making ourselves feel even worse because we think, oh, well, my life is not like that. So I wonder how many of you can relate with just constantly trying to rely on external things to give you this quick boost. And I feel that there's so much truth in what the Guru is saying here, that no taste, no meal, no experience has ever truly satisfied us, has ever really fulfilled our desires. So we just keep going back. Our desires are always ongoing. And when you've lived like this for so many years, it's so natural to just question yourself and wonder, is there any other solution? Is there any other way? Is there really a way out of this? And to this, the Guru answers by saying, pi-aas na jaa-ay horat kitai, jichar, harras palai na paa-ay. Your thirst will not end with anything else until you grab hold of the divine flavor of hari. And so now the Guru is starting to mention this word thirst, and it's talking about this cravings, these constant desires that we have in our life. And if anyone's dealt with addictions in the past, one of the things that you will realize is that the thing that you're addicted to is not really the problem itself. More often than not, there's a deeper problem. More often than not, there's something deeper going on in our mind, which is then manifesting as an addiction. And here the Guru is talking to the tongue, but really it's talking to the mind. Really it's addressing how we think, because our tongue doesn't have desires. It's our mind that has desires. So it's really our mind that needs to start understanding how we deal with feelings of dissatisfaction. How do we deal with feelings of failure, feelings of being uncomfortable, and why running to external tastes is not the way to solve that problem. And then the question really is, well, what do we do? When desires arise, when we do feel low, what do? We think that when we feel low, when we feel uncomfortable, and it manifests as a thought that I need to go taste this, I need to go have this, I need to have this experience, that the solution to us feeling low is to actually go and satisfy that desire. But the reality is that isn't the way, that isn't the method, that isn't the way that's going to solve it, because we've done that too many times. And our mind is going to jump in here and try and defend itself and say, well, what's wrong with that way of doing it? Like, satisfying your desires when you feel low, why don't you just carry on doing that? What's so bad about it? Like, what's so negative about these habits? They feel good. When I eat into a chocolate bar, it feels good. Why don't I just carry on doing this? What's truly wrong with our desires? And to this, the Guru has answered this so many times in Anand Sahib itself. In verse 19, the Guru said, "Eh tisna vada rog laga, maran manho visarya." Desire is a great infection which makes the mind forget about the reality of death. In verse 29, the Guru said, "Liv churki lagi trishna, maya amar vartaya." Our divine connection is broken by desires, and Maya grabs a hold of us. So, the Guru, remember, is always talking from the higher perspective, from the awakened perspective. The words coming out of the Guru are the words from that state of being that they're in. And they're basically telling us time and time again, desire is a big problem to you experiencing what you really want in life, which is bliss. Bliss is what we want. Desire is a major barrier in that. So what's the solution? In the next line, the Guru says, "Harras paa-ay palai, pi-aas, bahurh na trishna laagai." Finding and drinking this divine juice of Hari, desires will not trouble you again. The Guru suggests that there is a solution, and that solution is to take on a new flavor in your life, to bring on something new in your life, this divine juice. Now that sounds really confusing. Let's take a step back and let's reflect on disappointment in our life. What does disappointment actually feel? Disappointment feels like there is a discomfort right now. Right now, I feel uncomfortable. Desire means in the future, in some moment in the future, if I do this, I will get rid of this feeling of discomfort within me. If I feel uncomfortable now, desire is a feeling that there's a hope for a better future. There is something better out there. And here the Guru is using this term, hara ras. Ras really means this sweet juice. And the Guru is saying the divine is like a sweet juice. And when we hear these words, we might think that the Guru is actually telling us to chant, to apply a mantra at that time. When we have cravings or desires, we just need to say some magic words that's going to change our mind. And maybe there's a different way to understand this harras. I think what the Guru is trying to say is we need to tap into something more profound. We need to go deeper into who we are and not stay at the very shallow surface level. We need to go and find this inner serenity so that there is something that is deeper within you and your desires are not disturbing your peace. You need to tap into a deeper part of who you are. But then the question is this really possible? when we've got so many things to do in our life and there are so many daily stresses, what's wrong with just a quick fix? The Guru is saying that this can be a quick fix as well. Guru is saying that har ras is like an immediate shift in your perception. Where you're seeing the me and you're seeing the problem, the Guru is saying the quick fix can be to change your perception at that point, to look at how am I looking at this, and maybe there's a different way of looking at it. So when we shift our perception that even this is a blessing, even this moment is part of the juice of life, and that juice of life is always with you. See, look at our mind. Our mind is always looking outwards. Our mind always looks for solutions outwards. So when I feel uncomfortable inside, we don't think that the discomfort is inside, so the solution has to be inside. We think the discomfort is inside, so let me go outside to find a solution. And you know that that has never worked. It might give you a temporary solution, but it doesn't really solve your problems. It doesn't solve the constant falling back into disappointment that's happening inside you. So the mind is always looking at the outside world to solve its problems, and Naam is reminding us to always remain with our sacred presence. What is being referred to here as the divine juice is something that is, you have a presence within you, and that presence is sacred within you. If you learn to tap into it, if you know it, then you can go back into it. The truth is that most of us don't know this experience. We can only know what the Guru is talking about if we have tasted this ourselves, if we have swam in that pool of inner serenity that's within us. If you know what that divine juice is, that experience of absolute bliss within yourself, if you know that, where you have emptied yourself of yourself, you've emptied yourself of your thoughts, emptied yourself of your worries and plans for the future and distresses of the past, when you've let those things go and you let go of the I am itself, then what remains is just stillness. What remains is what is really being called the vibration of the universe, Naam itself. The real you behind all the labels and all the troubles and all the layers that we've built on ourselves. It's this innermost calm, this stillness that's always ongoing. There's an aliveness that's ongoing inside you, and it's always there. It's within you and it's all around you. And this is what's been called Shabad, the universal vibration. So when Guru talks about applying har ras, applying har, applying Naam, Naam is not a word. Naam is far more than a word. It's a pointer to your own inner being, and it is asking you, be aware. Be aware of your own presence. Now again, this raises so many questions. And you have to ask yourself honest questions. Do I know what this is? Can I access this at any time? And why is my mind always hopping from one desire to another? Why is it never satisfied? Why are there always new cravings? And the other questions that we would ask is, should we not enjoy the flavors of the world? Is there something wrong with eating treats? Is there something wrong with enjoying good foods on your birthday or where you're feeling low, or enjoying different tastes? Should life be bland and boring? Now again, time and time again, when this question comes up, we have to remember the solution that the Guru has always given, which is, it's not about giving these things away. It's not about restricting the flavors in your life. There's a beautiful Shabad by Guru Nanak Dev Ji that talks about all the different flavors in your life. As soon as you think that I need to give this flavor up, the Guru addresses, look at all the different flavors that you have. Guru Nanak Dev Ji says, Ras soina, ras rupa kaman, ras parmal ki vas. The pleasures of gold and silver, the pleasure of woman, the pleasure of fragrance and perfume. Ras kore, ras seja mandir, ras mitha, ras mas. The pleasure of horses, or today we might talk about our cars, the pleasure of a soft bed, the pleasure of our house, the pleasure of taste like sweet and meat. Ete ras sarir ke kya ghat naam nivas. With so many pleasures of the body, in whose heart does Naam reside? This is such a wonderful Shabad because the Guru raises a really important question. If you think oh, I'm not experiencing divine bliss because I'm attached to this, this, and this, so the solution is to not have this in my life. The Guru asks this question, how much are you going to give up? How many pleasures in your life do you have that you're going to abandon? If you drop one addiction, all that's going to happen is you're just going to be addicted to something else. You're going to move on to something else. Everything is a pleasure in your life. Even your bed, your comfortable clothes, all of these things are distracting you to look outside, to look at the body as a pleasure. How much are you going to give up? We have the wrong impression in life that spirituality is about giving things up. And certainly in this tradition, the Guru has said time and time again, you don't need to go live like a monk. You don't need to go and abandon the world and live in a cave and only have the robes of a monk, because that is not where the giving up needs to happen. The giving up needs to happen in the mind. If you learn the mindset of a spiritually enlightened person, then you can live in the world and think like an enlightened, think like a monk, be a person who behaves like a spiritual master on the inside, but lives like a king on the outside. So Guru is saying time and time again, give up this impression that you have to abandon things in the world. That's the wrong impression. And anyone who knows, who's tried this, realizes how difficult it is. If you've ever been down that route where you're trying to give up different things in your life, you realize that after a while, you can't give everything up. You can't give up all pleasures. It's a mindset that needs to change. And so the Guru is actually saying something profound in this technique that the Guru is giving us. And the Guru is saying, rather than giving up flavors in your life, the Guru is saying, I want you to infuse the flavor of divinity into everything. Infuse everything with a divine flavor, with a divine essence. So rather than removing flavors, rather than getting rid of things in your life, add something new. Add the greatest pleasure in your life. So what does that mean? In every breath, add hari, add the flavor that this is not my breath, this is the divine breath. That which is sacred, the most precious thing, life itself is what is being experienced in this breath. With every bite of food. We have a beautiful phrase within the Gurmat tradition called Saas Giras Simran. It means an awareness, Simran, with every saas, with every breath, and every gras, with every bite. With every breath and with every bite, be in awareness. Saas Giras Simran. Remember the divinity with every breath and with every bite. So the Guru is saying with every taste, with every sound, with every sight, with every touch, with all your clothes, with all your relationships, everything is a transaction with the divine. Trading in naam, remember that in the previous verse? Everything that you're doing, use every moment as an opportunity to trade with that divine. To flavor every interaction with the divine flavor. So this is when the mantra, the word, starts to become really important. Start to practice every moment as this is you. This is you. Everything that you're dealing with is you. This very moment is you. This very space is you. Try this as we're doing this right now. This moment is that divinity. This space that I'm in is that divinity. Everything that I see is the divine, and the one that is seeing is also the divine. The words are you. The witness of these words are also you. So then when you begin to understand this, then you just need one word that reminds you of this. Har, 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 Ram, Ram, Guru, Guru, Vahe Guru. Any word then allows you to go into this experience, because then you're breathing in Vahe, breathing out Guru, breathing in Hare, breathing out Ram. And so you start to realize that everything reminds me of you. Everything that I look at is you. The one looking is also you. And this is not our experience. This is where we need to get to. But the Guru is now saying this is the practical step how you do it. It's no longer theory. And you need to understand what is in your mind right now. Right now, if there's one thing that you're addicted to, it is the me, the I am, the myself. We all have that addiction. That, in fact, is the thing that we're most addicted to. So the Guru is saying that you are blocking the river of bliss that is inside you. And horat is the one who gets addicted to that divine flavor. That divine flavor becomes something that is so refined within you. You start to become addicted to seeing the divinity in everything, and even the one seeing becomes that divine itself. So eventually, you yourself get infused in this divine. Remember what this technique is, that at every moment you have to infuse divinity into everything that you're doing. Every bite of food is a bite of the divine eating the divine. Every conversation is the divine talking with the divine. Every breath is the divine breathing with the divine. One of the ways I like to think about breathing is when you breathe in, the universe is breathing out. And when you're breathing out, the universe is breathing in. So you and the universe are right here connected with each other. Your breath and the universal breath is the same. It's exactly the same thing. So when you start to do this, you start to now slowly dissolve who this I am is. But this can be a shift that you just do straight away. But it comes with practice. When you practice it, you realize how to just switch this on. And remember, every other habit that you have in your life, every other addiction that you have in your life started with a practice, started with you doing it 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, and eventually it just became so familiar to you that you became someone who identified with it. That's something that became natural to you. This is the same thing. Begin a new habit. Don't take anything away from your life. Begin a new habit of infusing that horat, that divine juice in every single moment. And so this is the new habit that we need to create. Flavor everything with this divine understanding. And so that divine understanding now begins to absorb within your mind. And this is what has been known as drinking Amrit. This beautiful nectar, this nectar of life. We heard in verse 23, Pivo Amrit sada raho har rang, japeho sarang pani. Drink the nectar, always remain in the color of Hari. Chant the mighty protector. You will know this mighty being that is everywhere, all around us. And this is what we all want. We all want this experience of life. In verse 13, we heard Sur nar mun jan amrit khoj de, so amrit gurte paya. God's people, silent yogis and servants search for divine nectar. This nectar is obtained from the Guru. So this Amrit of life, this sweetness, this juice of the soul, this flavor of bliss, this supreme Anand is with you. But you just need to know how to look at life from this way. So every time you're craving something, what you're really craving is this bliss. Notice when you feel disappointed and distracted, and you go for a quick fix, what you're hoping for is to just get rid of that uncomfortable feeling. You try and solve that with a quick fix, but that never really solves the problem, because you have the real fix inside you. So your body knows, your mind knows, why are you going for the wrong flavor? Why are you going for the wrong solution when the real solution is already there, but your mind doesn't know how to do it? This is something that you are searching for, this divine bliss, this Amrit. Remember, don't get lost in the language. Don't think about these words as some ancient spiritual words. Try as much as possible to make them relatable to you. This Amrit is what you are searching for, the divine bliss. This divine bliss is something that you have known. When you were in your mother's womb, you were fully connected with the oneness. You didn't have a mind. All you had was a connection with the divine. But as soon as you were born, that connection with that divine was broken because the mind started to get developed. The mind started to look outwards and realize, I can just get pleasure from these things. And it just carried on for decades trying to get pleasure from these things, and the spiritual masters have said, no, you need to go back. You need to go back to your original home, to that original experience that's already within you. And time again, Maya has distracted you, the world has distracted you, and nothing has ever tasted the same. Nothing has ever tasted as good, as pure, as amazing as that which you already have within you. So Maya has fooled you into believing that it's something that's out there. The solution is something out there, but the Guru has always tried to say that the solution is inside. The solution is within you, and it's waiting to be savored. It's waiting for you to drink this Amrit, this divine understanding, this blissful naam, this blissful realization of this universal essence is already within you. And when you begin to drink it, the Guru says, bahurh na trishna laagai. Desires will not trouble you again, because once you've tasted this, nothing comes close. No other experience is going to top this experience. And you don't have to stop anything else. You don't have to stop your relationship with anything else in life. It's just that your desires for other kinds of bliss will stop. The desire that something else out there is going to solve this problem, that desire won't trouble you anymore, because you know the ultimate juice of life. The Guru carries on by saying, "He har ras karmee paa-ay, satgur milai jaa-ay." This divine flavor of Hari is obtained with grace by those who meet the true Guru. So those who have been born into this human life and have had the opportunity to connect with this wisdom, live this, they are the most fortunate ones. They are the ones who've been able to meet the wisdom of divinity, the true Guru. But this happens with the grace of the Guru. And time again, you may ask this question, why? Why is this idea of grace ending every single verse? Why does the Guru spend so much effort saying that you're not able to do this? Why is the Guru taking that hope away from us? Because this is the path of letting go of the I am, and the Guru is very good at making sure that you never let the I am enter in. Never do you let your guard down to the ego, and never do you come up with this conclusion that I am meditating, I am letting go of myself, I am so spiritual. This is the Guru's gift to us. This is the Guru looking after the student and saying, I know the biggest pitfall, and I'm going to constantly remind you not to fall down that trap. And so the Guru says time and time again, this happens by grace. It is not by you, because there is no part of you that needs to remain to say, I have done it. So even though there is effort, even though there is practice, there is techniques, every single thing, remember, has to be given the divine flavor. Even your own enlightenment, even your own effort can't be something that you say, everything is the divine, but I have to do it. That can't be the way. Giving your head means giving absolutely everything, so there's not a single shred of the I am left. And so Guru ends by saying, kahai naanak, hor anras sabh veesray, jaa-ay vasai. Says Nanak, all other flavors are forgotten when Hari embeds in the mind. The Guru is saying, not that you will not be allowed to taste anything. It is that you will not be tempted by the world to satisfy the mind. You will realize that you don't have to always try and follow your mind's desire. Always your mind will say, go and do this, go and feel this quick pleasure. Go and taste this, go and experience this. Don't deal with the discomfort that's inside you. Don't look it within you, look outside. Your mind is always going to say that. But when you begin to discover the divine flavor that is within you, when you practice applying divinity into everything, even the one who you think you are, you apply it at every point, you realize that I don't have to listen to every passing thought. These are just thoughts. They're not my thoughts, they are just thoughts. You don't need to hold on to every single thought. You don't need to be tempted to satisfy every single one of those things. And that's what the Guru means by saying you will forget all other flavors. Not that they don't exist anymore, they are there, but you're now drinking from the ultimate juice. Why would you have something that tastes bitter? Why would you have an inferior juice, an inferior flavor, when you're already tasting the greatest juice of life? And so this is what Guru means by meeting the true Guru. Remember, right at the very beginning of Anand Sahib began with Anand paya meri mai, satguru main paya. Bliss has emerged when I have obtained the true Guru. And this is what it means to meet the true Guru, to be infused with this understanding at every moment, with the divine way of looking at life. That is what my experience is at every moment, at every level, with every interaction. That is what is meant by meeting the true Guru. And when you meet the true Guru, when you experience that highest version of yourself, when you let go of everything and you surrender, all that comes out is the divine bliss, the bliss of har ras, the divine experience, the supreme anand of life. Answer these questions either by writing them down or discussing them in your groups. What are some of your own unwanted habits and cravings? Can you think of any underlying perceptions that cause these habits? What practices do you need to do to experience your inner bliss? How will you infuse an awareness of presence into your daily routines?